Riding high after an emotional win over UCLA, USC returns home to the Coliseum for the regular season finale, as they take on a surging Notre Dame squad that looks to derail USC's playoff hopes. Can USC keep their emotions in check and pull out the W? We'll talk about all of that and more on this week's Trojan game preview. Hey guys, welcome into this week's game preview. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your families and friends. I would like to thank all of you for your support. It makes me happy knowing you guys are enjoying the videos. I'm so grateful for all the nice comments and interactions we've had. You guys are truly the best. But talking about the game this week, while this is a rivalry game like UCLA is, it's very different. There's a mutual respect for Notre Dame and their fans that isn't there for UCLA. You could not tell the story of college football without talking about these two programs and this rivalry game specifically. Now, these two schools are polar opposites when you look at them as a whole. Blue collar against flash, sunshine against cold. You get the point. But these two teams are also polar opposites in terms of what they want to do on the field as well. Notre Dame wants to run the ball, chew the clock, and play tough defense. USC wants to have explosive plays on both offense and defense. It's going to be fascinating to watch. So let's move to the injury front. We'll start with SC. Mario Williams seems to be progressing, and I would expect him to be full go come Saturday. Eric Gentry did get some snaps last week, but defensive coordinator Alex Grinch said post-game that he was limping a bit, so they shut him down. So I'm not really sure about that one. It could really go either way, to be honest. Again, I'm working with very little to no information on this. Lincoln Riley doesn't like to discuss injuries, and there's even less information this week because Lincoln didn't have his usual Thursday presser due to Thanksgiving, of course. Now on the Notre Dame side, they obviously lost their starting quarterback in the loss against Marshall, so Drew Pyne has been the starter ever since. But the really big one is that senior cornerback Cam Hart is questionable for this game. He's a really good player, guys. 6'3", 200 pounds, really important piece for that Irish secondary, which obviously going up against Caleb Williams and these wideouts, they definitely need all the help they can get. We'll get into that as we go on, but before we dive in, if you guys are enjoying the video, please like and subscribe. It means the world and it helps so much. Alright, now let's dive in and meet the Notre Dame head coach. Notre Dame is led by first-year head coach Marcus Freeman. Of course, he played his college ball at Ohio State. Fun fact, he was on that 2008 team that came to the Coliseum and got whacked 35-3. Now, Freeman's on the younger side of coaches at 36 years old. He rose to prominence when he was the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, and he really saw his stock skyrocket in that 2020 season. And from there, you all know the story. He got the defensive coordinator job at Notre Dame. Brian Kelly leaves for LSU, and they promote Marcus from within. And after some early season struggles, he seems to have righted the ship there in South Bend. Now, obviously, he's a defensive guy, so let's dive in and discuss this defensive scheme. Now, this defense is super versatile in how they can line up. His base defense is a 3-3-5, however, they sometimes come out in a 4-2-5. They play a ton of cover 1 and cover 3. If Hart is indeed out for this game, I imagine they'll be playing cover 3 primarily, so the underneath game is going to be huge for SC in this one. I mean, if they want to play cover 1 without one of their best cover corners, then be my guest. I just don't really see them doing that too often. Caleb's going to have to be patient and just take what they give him. Now, their offensive coordinator is former Irish quarterback Tommy Rees. This offense likes to take the ball out of the quarterback's hands as much as possible. They're run heavy with very simple route concepts. Especially now with Pyne as the quarterback, it's really simple with what they want to do. Run and throw to the tight end. And as we'll talk about later, that tight end is a very special player. So I can't wait to see the chess match play out. Lincoln Riley's offense against Marcus Freeman's defense. It's going to be fascinating to watch. Alright, so let's switch over and meet this Notre Dame offense. So talking about this ND offense, what really stands out to me is that they really aren't elite at anything, yet they've been scoring points in bunches as of late. Since their loss to Stanford, they've scored 44 against UNLV, 41 against Syracuse, 35 against Clemson, 35 against Navy, and 44 against Boston College. Now, they have scored some points on special teams and defense, but that's still very impressive. Alright, so let's talk about Drew Pyne. In terms of physical tools, he is the weakest quarterback USC will have faced this season. He's listed at 5'11", but any Notre Dame fan that has been around him or stood near him will tell you that he's 5'9". He's lucky to be 5'10". He's not really mobile at all. He's lacking arm strength. However, he is sharp with the mental side of the game. He is a good decision maker, having only thrown 5 INTs on the year, although he does have a tendency to stare down his target, and that target is usually the tight end. Normally I spend more time talking about the quarterback, but in this case there's not really much more to say. So let's just talk about Michael Mayer. He's the true leader of the offense. This guy is an absolute monster. In my opinion, he's the second best tight end in the country, only behind Georgia's Brock Bowers. He's 6'4", 265 pounds. He's having a huge season up to this point. He comes into this one with 59 receptions for 711 yards and 7 scores. This guy has great hands, an incredible ability to just get open, and he has improved a ton as a blocker. He is far and away the biggest threat in this Notre Dame passing game. I know most of us SC fans still have PTSD from Dalton Kincaid, so I'm going to assume that Alex Grinch has this guy circled, highlighted, and whatever else. Earlier in the week, Alex Grinch was asked about how he plans to deal with Mayer, despite his earlier failures against Utah, and I think you'll get a laugh when you hear his answer, so here's what he had to say.
With Michael Mayer, what adjustments do you make from the Utah game to Kincaid?
Yeah, tackle him, when he's got the ball. I mean, and that's you can come up with a lot of ingredients, and you can put two guys, you got two guys on him, one of the two, if not both of them, are going to have to get him on the ground. Now, he obviously gets a vote in it, and he's elite at finding ways to, similar to issues we've had in the past, is, they have a tendency not to just fall on first contact. And so, we try to convince the guys it's not open field tackles, you're not by yourself. Sometimes you are by yourself, and you got to find a way to get a body part, and sometimes just hang on for dear life. But no, you got to have obviously an understanding of where he's at. When a high-level run game and the physicality, as you mentioned, it's very difficult to say, okay, let's put 2 on him and still have extras in the run game. So that's defensive football. It's a different way to attack defense than most weeks, but obviously highly effective, and one you see on Sundays quite a bit as you watch NFL.
I don't know about you guys, but personally, I love how brutally honest Alex Grinch is. One can only hope that it's that simple, but hey, at least he has experience and failure with this group in regards to guarding the tight end, so they know how to correct it. And when you go through the receiving leaders list for this team, it's crazy how steep the drop-off is after Mayer. You go from 59 catches to 26 catches from Lorenzo Styles. So think about this. Styles is the second leading receiver on this Notre Dame squad. In the last 5 games, Styles has a combined 5 receptions for 31 yards and no touchdowns. So yeah, I'm not worried at all about this Irish passing game outside of Mayer. So let's talk about the Notre Dame running game. It's actually a 3-headed monster in the Irish backfield. Audric Estime leads the way with 782 yards and 11 touchdowns. They also have Logan Diggs, who has 698 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Chris Tyree, who has 400 yards and 3 scores. So obviously that's some outstanding production from the Irish backfield. They all run aggressively, they're all very impressive backs. Chris Tyree is the receiving back in this group, having 20 receptions for 128 yards and 2 scores. They don't really use their running backs in any creative ways in the pass game, just your generic swings and screens. Now let's talk about this Irish offensive line. They are huge. These are the listed heights and weights for all the starting offensive linemen. 6'8", 317, 6'5", 310, 6'3", 308, 6'7", 316, and 6'6", 327. These are just some massive individuals. The USC defensive line is in for a full day in this one. They are a dominant run blocking line as well, so the USC front seven's really going to have to step up in this one. So some interesting numbers for this Notre Dame offense. They're 43rd in yards per rush, 36th in overall rush offense, 113th in passing offense, and they're the 75th total offense. So let's head over to the other side of the ball and meet this Irish defense. Contrary to the majority of the opponents on USC's schedule, the defense is the strength of this Irish team. They have very strong numbers across the board, they are a bit beat up in the secondary, and that was an advantage for USC even when they were completely healthy. Now that they're hurt a little bit, that sways even more in SC's favor. Freshman corner Benjamin Morrison is the playmaker in this Irish secondary. He has 5 picks coming into this one. He's very aggressive, and he's very talented at making plays on the ball when they throw it his way. Brandon Joseph is a transfer from Northwestern. He's a former All-American. He is battling a high ankle sprain coming into this game, so if he's not 100%, look for Caleb Williams to target him early. JT Bertrand is the leading tackler for this Notre Dame defense. The linebacker has 65 tackles and 2 sacks on the year. The experience on this Notre Dame defense overall is just crazy. So many 5th or 6th year seniors on this squad. I think that's a big part of why they've been so successful this year. Isaiah Foskey is just a fantastic pass rusher for this ND squad. He has 9.5 sacks on the year. He's so strong and so athletic. Look for the SCO line to key on him. Now, when I look at the matchups, I don't think this linebacker unit or the secondary can match up with our skill guys. Look for them to play a very conservative, take no chances kind of defense. And a lot has been made of the Irish pass defense in terms of their overall rankings. However, I think the numbers are very inflated due to some of the passing offenses they faced. They have not seen an offense like USC since the Ohio State game, a game which they obviously lost. And they haven't seen a quarterback like Caleb Williams all year. Caleb is the best quarterback in the country, and he's been playing like it as of late. So some interesting numbers for this Irish defense. They're the 17th total defense, 16th pass defense, 40th rush defense, but 125th in red zone defense. Alright guys, now it's time for my keys to the game, and as always, let's start with the offensive keys for your USC Trojans. My number one key is get out to a fast start. This Notre Dame offense is not built in any way to come from behind, so get a lead early, pull them out of their comfort zone, and make them put the ball in Drew Pyne's hands. My second key is 3+4. Jordan Addison and Mario Williams are two of the best wideouts in the entire country. They need to really step up and take it to these Notre Dame defensive backs, who in my opinion can't compete with them. And my last key is red zone success. I told you the ranking earlier. The Notre Dame defense is 125th in red zone defense. And we all know the first quarter struggles USC had in the red zone last week against UCLA. So all of that needs to be cleaned up, and we have to take advantage of it when we get down there. Alright, now moving over to the defensive keys. My first key is please cover the tight end. I can't handle Utah 2.0, so please just cover him and tackle him. You shut down Mayer, you shut down this entire Notre Dame offense, in my opinion. My second defensive key is make them throw the ball. Keep them in second and long and third and long situations. Make them put the ball in Drew Pyne's hands. Make them show you he can beat you. And my last key for the defense is please see number one. Please cover Michael Mayer, please. Alright guys, those are my keys to the game. Now for some final thoughts. I really just can't believe the spot we're in. I mean, we're coming off a 4-8. That was the worst USC team I've seen since I've been alive. This game is important every year, but it's extra important this year just because of what it means. I mean, you're talking about ending the losing streak to Notre Dame that dates back to 2016. You're getting one win closer to locking yourself into the college football playoff. Caleb could all but wrap up the Heisman this week if he has a dominant performance. I mean, this game is just a big deal in so many ways, and I really don't have a good feel for how this one's gonna go. But like I said last week, when a game is this up in the air and you don't really know which way to lean, look at the head coach and quarterback matchup, and that'll determine your winner most of the time. And in this case, I would say that Marcus Freeman and Drew Pyne aren't even in the same galaxy as Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams, so give me the Trojans here. I have SC 45 and Notre Dame 21. Make sure to let me know your score predictions down in the comments. Alright guys, that'll do it for this week's game preview. I can't believe that we're already at the end of the regular season. This season has absolutely flown by. I look forward to talking with you guys on Monday as we recap this game. I'll either be filled with pure joy or utter despair. But until then guys, thank you all so much for listening. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Take care and fight on.